Hello everyone, this is Crusty from Crusty and the Moon Wizard, and we're playing Starfield Shattered Space today. There I was, the soon-to-be fabled Sir Zomp Fairy, drifting happily through space when I happen across a giant metal monstrosity.
Do not repeat, not board.
Not only was a man robotically warning me away for a communication system, but it was ugly and my eyes very much wished I had not seen it. Its disgusting exterior had blinded me. Thankfully, I was very talented and intelligent, and I managed to dock anyway. Perhaps the insides held beauty, treasure, friendship. As soon as I entered, it was clear the gravity was absent, because it wasn't there.
No. Get your clothes back on.
I also realized Sarah was still with me. She was desperately hoping I would at long last help her find that shiny rock piece she so coveted, but today, it was not that day. Again. Today, I had to float through mystery and intrigue itself. What was this place? Did they sell ice cream? Dead people. Dead people with seaweed. There was something spooky about this place, and it may have been the dead bodies and the ghost people. And, ghost jelly. The ghost folks seem connected to it somehow. Not that I mean to imply all blue things are the same. If Papa smurfed a blue whale, he would accomplish nothing but a head scratch and a squishy suffocation. Blueberry jam. Suddenly, and with gradual warning, the spectre lady went red, so naturally I shot her until she died. Again, but better. This upset man ghost who acted like he saw her die, but not us kill her. Interesting. Were we the ghosts wherever he was? Was he made of jelly? I looted a sexy new gun off of the corpse and tried communicating with Ghost Man with a hammer. But he was rude and did a off. In the next room, I found more jelly, and then angry strawberry ghost jelly people shot at me until I did unwanted backflips and fell asleep for a long time. Clearly, I needed more training. If only there was some warning for this. So I ran away. I spent the next forever hours helping people when they were sad, but killing people to make them happy. Eventually, I went back. A changed man. Okay, so it was actually just 1 hour and I only advanced by 1 level, but I am not a patient man. And also, I had drugs. Turns out this was all I needed to murder those stupid glowy freaks. I kept creeping through the dark and dangerous hallways until I replaced a battery so the gravity could come back on, which was lovely. Floating is fun, but eventually you just want to step on a caterpillar. I went in this room and the nice ghost man finally lost his mind and turned tomato, so I made ketchup of him and his friends. These friends all had fantastic gear on them. I was excited to be making such a profit. Although I was aware that maybe it only seemed good because I was considerably underpowered for this adventure. But let that be a lesson to all of you. If you want to succeed in life and go where others tell you you cannot tread, take mystery supplements and violently shoot your way there anyway. You can subscribe to Crusty and the Moon Wizard for more life-changing advice. I did a beep boop boop beep boop 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 and the station flew through space and now I was completely lost.
Your orders are to send a representative down here immediately.
A man's voice came through clearly overhead and asked me to come outside. Before I did that, I ran into the blue goo and it teleported me away from it because I was yet to learn boundaries. I undocked my ship and flew down to the planet that wasn't there before. Well, it probably was, but shut up. It was very red, like evil is. As soon as I stepped out of my ship, a man with a mullet head pointed a gun at me and demanded things. This was like that time in that motel. I said I was just responding to a distress call because I'm very kind. The other man, who looked like David Bowie had been stuck in a garden shed for weeks, said, "Hey, it's cool, let's not bang boom." So he didn't. Then a ghost appeared and everybody listened to it because he was shiny and I may have landed on a planet of magpies. The ghost said many cryptic things, as ghosts do, while they never to the point. Despite this, the others surprisingly couldn't hear anything he said, which made me feel special. I told them I wasn't paying attention, so I don't actually know what he said, which was accurate. Then he started blabbering about how I was chosen by the Great Serpent, but I had no recollection of even a normal serpent, so what the shit was he on about? They asked me if I wanted to join them and become the Promised. I said yes, but no promises because what else was I doing? And I liked their vibe. Despite the religious nonsense, I too didn't like to was me face. I don't know what I meant by this. This is what I wrote. It was possible I had a little stroke, but I had been traveling in space for a long time and I was very lonely. They opened the gate to show me Emperor Palpatine eating a big invisible sandwich, which led me further into their city, which was red. Everything was red. Well, tinted red. Did they put paint in the sky? Are they breathing in paint? Is this why they believe a giant serpent will come back to enshroud the universe one day? What would they believe if I threw green paint on them? They wanted me to walk into a cave to become worthy of their affection and so that they wouldn't peel my eyelids off with dull spoons. They really enjoyed the theatrics of it all, but my clomp sense was tingling, so I hit her in the mouth and then they arrested me. They let me out quite quickly because I was lovable, and then I just kind of went with it and walked into their dark hole of danger anyway.
The path lies before you, but it is up to you to walk.
No, it bloody didn't, and now my ankle hurt. Put some stairs there or something. Honestly, what sort of health and safety disaster were they running here? I moved onwards because I was overreacting. Deeper into the cave, and the lady was telling me about the history of their precious house Faroon. I blew out some candles and then was asked to sacrifice something in a fire pit, so I threw a pie in that I made earlier. I was going to eat that pie. This was how serious I was. She wanted me to jump off of this rock bridge, which was weird, but I did it anyway. And all I got was this pathetic plop, and then I was wet. I stood in a pool of acid that made my feet tickle. They asked me to sacrifice this creature, so I shot it just because I enjoy shooting things. It danced. It was happy to die. She filled the room with gas and asked me to choose 2 statues to give to the Great Serpent. I chose perseverance and devotion. Not that I wished to devote myself to their slimy religion, but it was the biggest statue and I didn't need more of a reason than that. Plus, I didn't have to lick anything and I really enjoy that.
Did you feel the Great Serpent working within you?
Yeah, sure, lady. She gave me the title of Wobble Stallion. Or something else probably, but my one sounded better. I left the cave and ran into that guy that doesn't wash his face.
Welcome.
Wobble Stallion. They bickered amongst themselves about whether or not I really was the chosen one until they agreed on the story of experimentations within their citadel using grav drive technology in an attempt to contact the Great Serpent. It didn't work and a big surge of energy went whoosh and then the ghost people happened. I wondered why they were trying to talk to a snake. It's a snake. You can't really communicate with snakes. Unless you're Lord Voldemort or that little bastard with the scratch on his head. He said something about the vortex which he understood as the space between universes, and then I asked what he actually wants me to do beyond walk in caves and blow on candles. He told me to go speak to Ekris, the head of the science team. Once I stepped outside, I spotted a group of children loitering next to a wall. What were they up to?
What is wrong with you grown-ups?
I introduced myself to them and they said they were
Bored.
They asked me to play hide and seek and I thought I have no time to play games. But then I did it anyway because Zomp the Clump Fairy cares deeply about the future generations and doesn't want them to be destructive little fart bubbles. They ran away. I counted to 10, wondering if I should just leave them there where they were hiding. Nobody would know. I could laugh. I always liked laughing. It was then that I decided I wanted to run this person over in my lime wagon. I ventured into the nearest store to sell my loot from earlier. The shop owner tried appealing to my humanity, but I told her I don't care, just give me shop. Then I made money, which was good. No hiding little ones in here, though. Give me children!
You are an odd one.
They probably couldn't hide in there. I was running around for an embarrassing amount of time, and I just could not find them. I wondered if some grim fate fell onto them until I accidentally ran into Ekris. He was the science man I was supposed to be speaking to and forgot all about. I did a bitch about the council and he warned me of something called heresy. What a funny word. He told me he was waiting to finish building something impressive that could fix their citadel problems, but politics from each of the separate houses had halted all progress. He asked me to talk to each of said houses and tell them to stop being bum goblins. I said I would do it because he gave me a knife. Then he walked away to look at a metal fence. It was a good fence. I clearly already had lots on my plate, but I saw some bubbles outside the city and had to be with them. They let me float. Lovely. The beauty of me being with the bubbles angered some ghost people, so I made sure they stopped being angry because I killed them. I found Jesus in an impressive looking place called the Way Shrine of Redemption. Or Gandalf, or one of the other bearded guys. What's the difference? He said I can walk the path to all 4 way shrines and be forgiven about something I don't remember doing. I said, please leave me alone. Then I ran away. I have a limit on how much I can pretend to care about silly god doodles. At this point, I just wanted to get a taste of the new land. It was exciting and red. For now, I still had no idea where those kids were hiding. Maybe they fell into a hole. Maybe their limbs had ripped away from their bodies and crawled and hopped away to join a macabre space circus with a lion that doesn't know sign language. What if they were hiding on my ship? It was worth a look. When I boarded, this weirdo that started following me around said things like,
"You could probably lasso a whole planet."
So I ate his sandwich and asked him to follow me closer. I could use a new skin shield and I hated Sarah. Oh, and the kids weren't on the ship. Unless... Nope. I headed back into the city and I ran into two brothers who were arguing because one of them tried selling their mother's urn with the ashes still inside, and the other one found it to be a rather disgusting thing to do and therefore challenged him to a duel. And I was to be the urn seller's second, which meant I had to help prepare weapon ceremonies, ensure fairness, etc., etc. This all happened very fast, but it sounded like a good time, and I was in. I hoped I could make one of them eat a whole foot. I followed Danica, the other second, to their family home and listened to my duties. As it turned out, the whole kerfuffle could be avoided if an apology occurred. And one of my jobs as second was to see if I could make that happen. I didn't want to make that happen. I wanted to see them stab each other. I told them both to keep fighting. I didn't have to manipulation them. They were hot and ready to kill. Danica, however, seemed to really want the duel to be cooled off. She gave me tranquilizers to put in the ceremonial drinks to make them all sluggish and boring.
You have one final chance to stop this.
Would I do it? Could I really let such needless bloodshed? Yes, of course I could. The real question was, what option did I choose? I could spike both of their drinks, or I could spike just one. I made my decision.
And may the great serpent have mercy on your soul, Amila. Did you poison me? What have you done?
Nonsense! You are lying!
I chose to only put the tranquilizer in the drink of the brother that wasn't a useless alcoholic that tried selling their own mother's ashes.
Why? Why did you choose me?
I told him it was because I liked him, but really it was because he told me he'd give me lots of money if he won. I liked money. Money, money, money. I like money. 5,000 credits! Is that all? I should have killed them both. Danica was angry with me and walked away. I thought about pushing her down the stairs. This day had made me very violent. I blamed the frustration on those children. I was still struggling to find the little ones. They were very good at this. I made the mistake of turning my intentions towards speaking to all of the political family people.
Another High Council lackey come begging?
This one liked shouting a lot. I wished he didn't. I didn't like politicians. The only time they like to bend over backwards to help somebody is to put their lips into their own bottom and blow raspberries. He called me an outsider again. People kept doing that. I told him I walked in that cave and could speak to that ghost version of that guy they liked, so shut the shit up. He asked me if I'm good at discretion, and I said yes, if you give me a bag of money. I liked money. Money, money, money. I like money. He agreed and seemed to respect it because politicians are terrible people. He poked his tongue through the brush I painted his kind with and told me his son denounced the great serpent and ran away.
It is heresy and punishable by death.
And now he wanted his son dead. If there's one thing religion is good for, it's seeking bloody resolution on a horse made of hatred, when all you really need to do is be like, okay.
Anyone who has directly aided him in hiding is an accomplice and shares his fate.
If there was one thing I disliked, it was needless bloodshed. Angerhead said his son had a ring, and if I bring him said ring, then he would grant me access to that power grid that science man was on about earlier. I went out in search of the politician's son. I found a man called Tane who knew him and put a tracker inside him, or on him. I didn't ask too much. I just gave him money and we ran outside to track down the traitorous little rascal. We found an abandoned camp in the mountains with no sign of Varric, although there was some disgusting looking creature I stole the cyst out of because I'm building a collection, and I'd ask you all not to judge me too harshly. You would all feel pretty stupid if you saw a 186-foot animatronic lizard with cyst skin stepping on buildings and making old people scream on the news. Trust me, I know stupid. Subscribe. I noticed bloodstains on the ground, and then out of nowhere I was attacked by some interdimensional looking creep noodles. They were strong and teleported closer whenever I tried to gain some distance, but thankfully, I killed them with death. My little weirdo got excited and was bitten by a giant bird. And then Tane demonstrated a magnificent leap which made me question whether his ligaments were made of ultra-durable jelly beans. We carried on searching northwest, threatened some simple farmers with the ultimate price, until they cried a little and confessed they helped an injured young man and sent him north a few days ago to another farm. Usually at this point I would be tempted to kill them, but that stupid face said, "Anybody who helps him must die." I'd rather not help him further because I had good reason to believe he was a dick. Because he was a dick. When I got to the farm, I stole his toilet paper and then he approached me with a gun because this upset him. We had a nice conversation about how the big silly snake god is a big dum-dum face and how he hated that the people were suffering and big dumb snake bitch did nothing to help. Then he asked me what I was going to do and I asked him to give me the ring and many money to keep his existence hush-hush. And he was like,
"It's all I have left of her since the cataclysm."
And I was like, "Please?" And he was like, "Okay." Before I left, I tried stealing more money from his pockets, but he got scared and ran away. I liked making new friends. I gave the ring back to his father, and his other kids got very upset because they thought their loved one was dead. But he wasn't really, because I lied. Tee-hee.
Your credits will not be issued.
That son of a bitch. That bubbling bowl of our stew, that festering testicle. He refused to give me credits because I said Varric acted alone. He had already heard people talking, so he knew that I was lying. If he believed in liars getting punished, he wouldn't be a bloody politician. I mean, he gave me the access that scientist man needed, but now I needed something more. Like an ear. I did a poo on his desk. That'll do. This was only the first family I had to deal with. How could the other two be any worse? And I still didn't know where those kids were hiding. I went back to speak to Ekris, the scientist man, and he was happy to see I'd made progress. But then this woman said some religious stuff about having a vision to go into another bloody cave and speak to their favorite ghost man, and Ekris was just like, "Just do it or she won't shut up." So I guess I'm not worrying about the other houses now and need to focus on this. These people do love caves. My adoring fan hated the idea and abruptly tried to take his own life. Unfortunately, he survived and we carried onwards towards his cave. Going this way led us toward the mysterious blue bubble of Big, which was engulfing the citadel and also more ghosts. But I had dealt with enough of those guys now to feel no sense of fear. I quickly dispatched the glow buffoons and made my way towards and into the cave I was instructed to visit for snaky snake reasons. Inside the cave, it was very bright. And glowing versions of those disgusting things tried biting me, but they stopped when I politely asked them to stop living. I spotted ghostly footsteps leading me towards a giant bright light, which I didn't question jumping into. Inside, I awoke with Anasco Varun, the missing speaker for the people of the city. He was important. He asked me what I was, so I said I was the Great Serpent, and it hissed at him, but he called bullshit. Still, he believed the serpent worked through me, which was invasive and I did not appreciate. He told me to meet him in the sacred citadel and then vanished as a gaggle of evil horror noodles appeared and assaulted me. They chased me as I tried sealing them in with falling debris, which was a pointless endeavor for enemies that regularly teleport. I ran as fast as I could out of the cave and back to the city, not at all caring if the creatures would follow and consume everybody inside, including those children. Seriously, where the shit were those kids? I sprinted back to Vision Woman and told her what happened. They said some stuff like,
"Did Anasco mention anything that could aid us in his extraction?"
I had to get into the fat snow globe and rescue Anasco. But first, I had to continue helping the other houses in order for them to give me the ability to fire up the morning device that could actually get me into Project Blue Ball.
The request for aid and supplies never cease.
Shut up, you fuck! We have a child!
You're bad at this.
I couldn't disagree, and I thought if I really intended on working in politics, I needed to get into character and capture children that were desperately trying to hide from me. I ran into House Kadik without realizing it was House Kadik, and some woman that almost could turn her head 90 degrees told me zealots had kidnapped people for ransom, and that's where I was to come in. If I were to rescue these hostages before they were to meet with the zealots to bargain for them back, they would have zero of the bargaining power, because you can't bargain back for what is not there to be bargained for. And if you do bargain for what is not there to be bargained for, then you have accomplished a false bargain that just seems like a waste of time. Apparently some guy this Rasma lady works for might know where the zealots were keeping the hostages, but was difficult to get talking. Because he was made of wood wrapped in skin. After massaging his fragile ego for a while, he let me know the location. but I was uncomfortable because he was made of wood and probably had beetles inside him. I had every intention of making my way to Shadow Station Epsilon to save some lives and to find musicians because I thought that was a great name for a band. However, before I left, I was confronted by Jamal Kadik, who told me this situation was only happening because Razma was using the Zealots in an attempt to secretly gain power over the other houses. Jamal didn't like this because working with terrorists is, and rightfully should be, frowned upon. She told me in order for Razma to cut ties with the Zealots, she would need to believe they killed the hostages. How awful, I thought. Was she suggesting that I kill the hostages and blame the Zealots? She was. Naughty Jima. I agreed to do it for a big bag of money. Money, money, money. When I got there, I murdered them all without mercy. Because Mercy is a pigeon that I met at a train station once and I had to let him go. I laughed at their feeble attempts to resist my might.
Serpent, be merciful. Has help finally arrived?
I found all of the hostages, including Sahima, who told me she was uploading a virus into the systems that could take out Zealot operations and ships far and wide. I did think it was good to have that in my back pocket, so I let her finish it.
Great Serpent was truly watching over us.
I tried butchering all of the hostages, but they were unable to die. This was some bullshit. If I was unable to die, then I wouldn't be a hostage. I would just keep running at people like a wasp person until they got scared of me and opened a window. Now I won't get paid for killing innocent people. This was such a challenging day for me. After willingly choosing to do the right thing and save all of the hostages, I turned up at the meeting where the Zealot leader was all angry face. So we told him the hostages were safe, and if he didn't fall in line, we'd do a little genocide. He called my bluff, so of course I did it without hesitation. I was owed blood. They attacked and subsequently died. I did a silent chuckle. Razma asked me to keep her dealings with the Zealots a secret, and my face went so I asked for a big bag of money, and she was like, okay. On my journey back into the city, I found another small human. How dare he make this so difficult for me?
What took you so long? Ugh, I've been waiting forever.
I told him with an attitude like his, it was no wonder his parents didn't want to be around him.
Why would you say that? Get away from me, I hate you!
I enjoyed upsetting this one. It gave me joy on my face. That is joy on my face. 2 down and only 1 to go. And it was the same with the houses. So I marched toward the final political nonsense. This man was surprisingly nice to me. He told me about how his family members died, and I don't care, just give me what I need. You have half a Transformer logo on your face.
A single moment of pure, terrible silence.
He kept trying to guilt trip me. I didn't like him anymore. I daydreamed of stealing his eyes with a tongue like a chameleon.
Hopefully you can deliver them from this. But what comes after? What about the next trial?
He droned on, spoke very slowly, and I will admit I found it difficult to focus long enough on what he was actually wanting me to do. Something about a thing or something. I hopped into my brum brum and drove to where I was supposed to go. Damn. It was a dam. And there was a young lad there who told me I needed a car to get into the building because these things are never straightforward. He said the last person to come here was a Nazco Varoon, who is that important ghost man I met earlier. I accidentally ran over the child. I deduced with my big brain that this dam could have something to do with what happened to the Citadel to make it all blue and nasty to touch. The kid told me a guy named Kavil could help me get inside the dam. He was in the farmland just opposite. Then I went where I needed to go to do the thing I needed to do. I was like, give me the key card, and he was like, okay. Then I went back to the dam. What a pointless trip. I suspected inside the dam would not be so simple. The water inside made my feet hurt, so I made a thing go boom, and then the water went away, and then I opened the door, and then flaps. Wonderful flaps. Some stupid ghost told me to leave immediately, but I was only playing with the flaps, so what was her problem? She said if I don't turn back, there's only one way that this could end. And I don't think she meant playing with her flaps. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. I kept going anyway until she popped up again and aggressively said,
You did not listen.
I said I listened. I just didn't care. She said,
You must die.
And then she attacked me without warning. She had a whopper of a weapon that made me feel sad when it touched me, but I won because I was the protagonist. I read some personal emails and found out that they were using this facility to test teleportation. So it seems safe to say that there was a definite link between this lab and the teleporting phantoms that have been angry at me since I arrived. The recent experimental results showed they transferred a keycard at power level 235. And another document said in low power mode the values must be increased by 100. So I entered the beep boop code and haha! Keycard! Now I can open a door. How exciting! Aren't doors fun? Sometimes I hide things behind doors, like eels. I carried on deeper into the facility until I was jumped by the angry phantom woman I thought I had already eliminated, but she was with another. This was going to be a problem. I asked if we could just not fight this time because I'm getting tired, but they just started blasting. I put a lot of foreign substances into my body and started blasting back. This was a good move because I won. I peeked into the computer she was guarding and learned they teleported people and thought this was all beginning to make a lot of sense. Science is bad. Bad science. Stick to religion. Religion never hurt anybody. The gods would have given us computers and Wellington boots eventually. Probably. If we were good. I helped myself to a vortex interlock, which is apparently what I came here for, and the phantom woman appeared again. She said if I took the other one, the farmers above would suffer or something, so I shot her and took it anyway. Ghost people are notoriously negative. That's why they go boo a lot. When I return to the surface, well, I'll be damned. Joke.
Now I have nothing.
I had flooded the land. I drowned their livelihood and stepped on their dreams. I got over it and returned the interlock to Ekris, the scientist man. I told him about what I had and he told me to keep them because I may need them, and then asked me to push a big button, which made me happy because I do like pushing buttons. It's why so many people died today. R.I.P. The big machine started working. If you like loud noises, you would love this machine because it made them. Ekris was kind enough to let me push another button, the big red button, which is the best kind of button to push. So I pushed it.
His fangs shall pierce the shell of the world.
It worked. Then I was told it was finally time to enter the Citadel and rescue Anasco. What I would find inside was a mystery to us all, but I was willing to face it. Because I was cool. If you like cool people like me, then subscribe to Crusty and the Moon Wizard. We can be cool people together. We could go skiing and not get eaten by bears. I ran into many phantoms along the way, but this was different. They didn't attack. Well, apart from this guy was a dick. When I got to the Citadel, Anasco was waiting for me. He asked what life in the city was like since he disappeared, so I put him at ease and told him whatever he did here had ruined everything and that his cat was dead. He told me he didn't have a cat. So whose cat was that? I told him we needed to shut everything down, and he said it wasn't possible without the thing that I conveniently had in my pockets. It was a good thing I got those interlocks, I thought. Could you imagine how embarrassing it would be to come this far just to turn around and go home? Anasco told me he would meet me further into the Citadel and warned me about his co-workers who had not retained their nice demeanors. He was right. This place was gooey. Everywhere I turned, there was another enemy wanting to remove my life.
I like to think of myself as your emotional support human.
Unfortunately, I had help, and he made it a point to get in my way as often as possible. I really should work alone. The resistance was relentless, but so was I. I tore through phantoms, turrets, robots, and robot dogs before I reached Anasco and installed the interlock and said bye-bye to the gooey blue goo-goo, but not my apparent need to speak like a toddler. Anasco then did that thing people do where they explained their grand plan was to contact his serpent god, and that although he blew up half his city and half his people, he learned stuff from it, so it totally wasn't a big deal. Like how they can create an army of overly powerful teleporting crazy people. All the people in these containers were still alive, and he wanted me to do the honors of
my faithful servant.
Well, I didn't like that. This man wanted me to help him wage a war on the settled systems, killing anybody who would deny his god or his way of life. An army of invulnerable, murderous phantoms across the stars. He proposed genocide. But I had already did a genocide today and I was still full, so this was not going to happen under my watch. Because it would happen outside and my arms aren't that big. I could barely even fit one parrot under my wristwatch. I tried.
What have you done? You've killed them all!
The man suddenly valued life. What a bizarre creature he was.
In the end, you have changed nothing.
My goodness, this man was unhinged and needed to be stopped. He teleported away, screaming something about the pinnacle. The building became overrun by zealots and phantoms. It was bloody, it was violent, but I killed every last one of them. Those silly sausages won't be stopping me for my final showdown with Ghost Bitch Man. It seemed obvious to me that in order to reach the pinnacle, I had to ascend. Because I am very smart. Also because this little blue thing told me where to go. The fighting kept going. I ran into and through a sea of zealot after a sea of phantom, and I crushed them all. This was the power trip that I needed. Before this adventure, I was feeling quite low. No jokes here. I've always been a sensitive man. I reached the pinnacle, a big gooey room of bright blue. Anasco did another evil monologue.
There is nothing you can do to stop me. The great serpent cannot be defied.
And then I stopped him. I mean, it was difficult, very difficult, but we all knew where this was going, right? Zealots to the right of me, phantoms to the left. I flew around playing bullet tennis, and somehow I managed to survive long enough to blow up 4 key points, and subsequently the entire goo machine. The citadel was imploding. Danger was cloaking me, and I was struggling to breathe. I needed to escape. I ran as fast as I could, avoiding Anasco and his army of violent goo men. He would shout things at me like,
"You shall not escape!"
But I did. I was slippery. Like a slippery... What's known for being slippery? Cupboard! I ran out of the door just in time to watch the citadel go boom, and then I can't really remember what happened for a while. I must have hit my head. I do hope nobody stole my favorite things. There are a lot of unscrupulous swines in these parts. Next thing I know, I woke up to David Bowie and the Sharpie gang. This guy said,
"You are inconsequential compared to the speaker. Why are you standing here instead of in Asco?"
Which was not very nice. I told them happily that Anasco had lost his pathetic little mind. Jamal tried to convince the others that they shouldn't worry about losing their speaker and instead worry about governing as a unit and looking after their people. I agreed. Snakes can't rule people. They can't even spread jam over a bagel.
We can carve a path forward for House Varun.
They argued amongst themselves until I said I should be the new speaker. They said no. Then I said they should give up and that House Varun is dead.
To say such a thing is heresy. You hit your head.
I was deadly serious. I was sick of their bullshit.
You are an enemy of House Varun and will be killed on sight.
Everybody got very angry and started shooting at me. It tickled so much I must have fallen over again and bumped my head. The next thing I know, I woke up in my ship, in orbit above their stupid red planet. My affable nitwit of a follower must have picked me up and rescued me. That was nice of him. Maybe I'll feed him today. This adventure was over and the planet and its people saved, mostly. And yet, I couldn't help but feel like I was forgetting something. Hello everyone, if you enjoyed this video then please do leave a like and subscribe and all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out, really supports it and helps it grow. Thank you very much for watching. I will see each and every one of you in the next video. Moon Wizard bless us.